Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy. This is a different style of video compared to what I usually do here on the channel. I had initially set out to do a reading, which was a love reading, but as I laid out the cards and as I saw very clearly what was happening in the cards, it became sort of a slightly twisted way of me explaining something to you that is experienced on an individual level and on a collective level and on a sort of love relationship level, and it was actually trying to correct a narrative, an internal narrative and an external narrative. And so I recorded that reading and I actually completed it, and it was halfway that I realized I need to talk through this like a friend speaking to a friend, because I have reached an understanding on this love reading and love relationship, soulmate, creativity dynamic, which I will expand on. But there's no other way I feel like to sort of do my part in sharing what's on my heart to help with this understanding that is creating a lot of frustration within the collective. So this is for pretty much anyone within this collective, because it's not a reading, okay? It's for anyone who listens to love readings or avoids love readings, okay? It's actually for everyone, because I'm not sure if there is an individual within this collective that just purely doesn't have interest in love readings. I'm not sure. What I do know is that love readings were very much my own gateway into this, listening to collective readings thing. And over the years, I have done quite a lot of healing in terms of the narrative. What I'll do is I will share 1 or 2 videos where I have conversations about this topic. But lately, in the last week and building up to today, this new beginning energy that we're sensing into now feels different. It feels like it's asking to be held differently, understood differently, handled differently. It's different. It's also come in more, if I can use the word, aggressive than usual, than before, as if it's speaking louder than usual, but also it's landing with a sense of responsibility and onus on us, almost like to act right, to see right, to understand right, in order for this thing to come together. And so I am going to invite you to listen with discernment, because this conversation is actually more about discernment than it is about when will my soulmate arrive. Okay? And I recognize it's possible I've already lost some of you by now. But I'm just going to continue to share something that may surprise you or not, is that I still listen to love readings. But when I read through the comments of these love readings, and I'll actually share some of my favorite love reading channels here in the description below. One of the things I've noticed as I read through the comments, and I've seen it in the comments of the videos where I talk about love relationships, I often present it as love, but I always give this disclaimer to understand it in more than one way, okay? But this is actually the reason I'm bringing this here today, is because what I've come to see and notice and understand, observe, is that there is always this question mark when someone hears a love reading, even if the reader says, take this as it resonates, this could be love or this could be work. We've all heard it. I've done it. I've said it. I've also heard it in many other readings. More and more lately, they are giving the work sort of piece. But what this is doing, in my observation, is it's actually triggering the collective where they feel like the relationship aspect of this, let's say, whatever love reading you're listening to, is almost being either sidelined, diluted, being put on less of a pedestal. This is actually translating to me as feelings of betrayal that are playing out within the collective. Betrayal, the way it's been playing out, looks like someone not wanting to click on a love reading because they don't want to be sold another fake love story. Okay. And it also comes across like, oh, you used to focus only on love readings. Now you're talking about work. Is that because there is no actual love soulmate relationship? Partly this is happening because more of us have been talking about, yes, this love versus work dynamic. I'd like to invite a new way of regarding this whole thing. I put it to you that these two things go together. These two things go together. And that if, let's say, okay, I need to just zone in on what this collective looks like. This is a highly intuitive collective, highly intuitive, very magnetic, powerful, so powerful that lessons repeat, because a lesson keeps showing up in your life. Before, it used to feel like bad luck, and then you started realizing, oh wait, maybe I'm being showed something here. It keeps repeating, and so then you sort of turn around and look at yourself, how you've been responding, even in relationships themselves, love relationships, romantic relationships. You kind of check yourself, how have I been responding? Perhaps I need to adjust something. Whereas in the background, there is still this longing for this ideal relationship. Okay, so there is a want for an ideal feeling of a relationship in one's life with another human being, however that translates for you. Okay, but also with it comes a yearning for freedom. Okay, this freedom feels like it's speaking to me like sovereignty, but it's like feeling free, feeling comfortable in your skin, feeling free to do the work that you love, feeling confident to pursue the work that you love. Okay, it's all these things, and to create something for yourself, something that you've sort of seen out there, but not in the way that you want to do it. Something that sort of, that it's co-creative. By that, I mean, it's partially spiritually created, but physically, you're the aspect here on earth that needs to bring it to life. With this comes a big feeling of responsibility to hear your instruction correctly as it comes through intuitively. Okay, so I put it to you that these two things, the love relationship, the ideal love relationship, the soulmate union, and the ideal work, craft, creative idea coming to life and being absolutely amazing, I put it to you that these two things go together. Now I want to move towards the challenge of it all and some of the confusion that actually just exists in the space. Okay, I am not placing any blame on anyone, okay, because at the end of the day, we are all meant to do what we love to do. And as an observer, I cannot say whether someone's behavior is happening consciously or unconsciously. That means that if I encounter a love reading channel that constantly remains a love reading channel with a huge following, okay, I'm going to experience sort of this feeling of betrayal, feeling like, why is my lover never arriving? You've been doing this for years. You have this really big, strong channel, and you're successful, yet you keep selling me a dream that's not coming together. So I, as Khuntsik, cannot actually judge whether that person is aware of this underlying dynamic or not. I can't tell. But that begs the question, would it make a difference if I could tell whether this person is conceited or not? Okay, would it make a difference in my reality if the reader knows that they are doing what they are doing? I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think it makes a difference. And the reason why I don't think it makes a difference is because I believe that it does require a certain level of work on oneself and spiritual sort of alignment internally to be able to read and to be able to produce content of that quality. Okay, and there's so many of them out there. I'm sure there's some that we all listen to that overlap and some that are completely on off each other's radar. Who knows? But the other thing that sort of I've picked up on in terms of, is this happening consciously or unconsciously, is the possible theft of energy. Okay, I'm going to call it that because you generate energy as an individual. The person I'm speaking to, again, your energy shines. There is definitely a level of sort of telepathy that's taking place in order for readers to be able to pick up things that you've been thinking about. So that means that your thoughts and feelings can be heard in that realm and picked up on. And so unconsciously or consciously, you are sending those messages saying to that reader or whoever reader, please read my energy. Okay. So you could be sending those messages out in that way, or unconsciously, you're just feeling these things. And then one day you stumble upon a reading that sounds like your feelings. Okay. I'm still going to get to the reason why I'm calling it theft. I'm going to get to that reason. What I want to start off by explaining is that you are an energy generator. You have amazing energy. How do I know that? I know that from when I enter your container. When I open a container and read for the collective, it's not every single reading, but when I pick up on this power, it actually feels good reading for you. Okay? It especially when the readings are these positive readings where, like recently, I'm not going to lie to you, it feels amazing. I believe that this could be part of the reason why some people just choose that, and they're allowed to. They're allowed to just choose to focus on that. Does that mean that I can refer to them as irresponsible? I'm not sure. I actually no longer know, and I'm inclined not to, because there are readers that read for love constantly over the years. There's one in particular that I probably discovered a year ago, but I listened to her to be able to get my own creative advice. Just as you listen to my channel and I listen, so I know she's reading love. I know she's reading love because she's sharing with me in terms of love. I see the cards that she's laying out. I can see how she's interpreting them. As a reader, I can see how she's reaching that. Often, sometimes her cards come out similar to the cards I've been pulling. However, I've just been interpreting it differently. Perhaps sometimes I have read it and intentionally strayed away from the romantic narrative of the reading. Okay, but that narrative is powerful. Let me tell you, that narrative is powerful because it allows one to really unlock the understanding of masculine and feminine that is happening within. Okay, even if a karmic comes up, I've seen the responses. It's something like, I don't want to hear from them and he needs to get out of my life. And I've heard them, and I've also felt like that at some point in my life. And I've even shared that kind of reading that kind of sparks that kind of reaction. However, it's not always only playing out on a human physical level where it's an individual making you feel this way. There are times where it is an aspect of oneself that's still behaving in that way towards oneself. I'll give an example of that. That then allows that energy to continue to exist in your energy, in your field, which then allows for that individual to still be able to sort of access your energy. Even if, let's say, you're out of contact or whatever it is, the fact that you pick up on what's happening in their lives, okay, you're highly intuitive, you pick up on this stuff. It's the same energy. That person who makes you feel like they let you down is the same energy within yourself where you may be letting yourself down. Okay? If there is a soulmate that you feel connected to, that you feel is taking forever, picking up the phone and phoning you and telling you, oh my God, you're the love of my life, all of that stuff. Let's just say, I'm just being really dramatic here, but just, with a pinch of salt. That, the way I've understood it, is the aspect of oneself that keeps ignoring the call to step forward in your purpose, in your creative work, to pursue yourself, okay, to take a chance. Many times I've even heard this, the doubt that happens, you feel like this person's coming and then they don't call. You can feel it. It's palpable. You can feel it. You can feel the emotions. You can hear the thoughts. You can hear the music. All of these things you receive in your space, but they don't. Okay. And how I've understood that is the calling within myself that says, come, let's go play. Let's do this. Let's do what you love. And I just end up not doing it. One of two reasons that I end up not doing it. The first one is that I end up so completely sucked into the idea that someone's about to phone me that I forget myself and my focus and my priority. Okay. And then I let myself down, which also means if this equals that, that's not happening because I didn't show up for myself. So I need to show up for myself in order for anyone else to show up for me. I need to call myself in order for someone else to call me. And I honestly do. For a long time, I thought maybe these things are not so directly related, but I have experienced a number of things over the past few months that tell me these things are directly related. Now, to return to why I referred to this as theft, okay? A person can take something from you that doesn't belong to them unconsciously or consciously. Okay, usually in this human world, theft looks like someone taking something, like stealing it, and they're being conceited and they're like, that's yours, I like it, I'm taking it for myself. We can't prove whether that's what's happening or not. We don't really have any evidence to prove that. And so what we need to be open to believing is that it's possible that something is being stolen from us that we are not aware, that someone is not aware they're stealing from us. Okay. And what they're taking from you, what is being taken from you, that energy of longing that comes with your energy signature, yours, the one I said is nice, yours. Your energy signature is delicious, if I could put it that way. It's not just delicious, it makes the reader feel good. It makes the readings sound good. It makes it works well creatively. Okay. And for a person to say to you, thank you so much for sharing your energy. If I show up as a reader and I am reading your energy and it turns out to be an amazing reading, you created that reading. Your energy created that reading. On top of that, your presence in the reading amplifies it. Okay, because there's already a pre-understanding that you are going to listen to that reading. So your energy has already left your field to go to that reading that you're going to be listening to with that reader that you religiously listen to and you enjoy the readings of. But that energy that then, do you see how there's a big aspect, and I'm not going to call it the readers themselves. Okay. And I can't extract myself from this totally. This is just I'm trying to help the collective here, myself and everyone. And it's like, depending on how you interact with these readings, if you leave all of your energy in those spaces, in those readings, and you leave your destiny in those readings where you've been promised something, you leave it there, you then walk away expecting it to work for you, okay? And you don't pursue yourself, your energy is left there, okay? Your energy is left there. And I mean, this could be one of the most controversial things I've said, but it's possible that this is what allows for these channels to grow so well, okay? With that said, this is no indictment on those channels, because again, I just want to share that I think they are actually doing great work. Why? Because number one, if I feel like escaping, I can listen. And at this point, in terms of how I listen with discernment. Listening with discernment, I don't mean I'm listening saying no, I mean rejecting the love relationship and keeping the work advice. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that as I listen, I'm applying it in both ways. I'm using the love aspect to make me feel good about my work. And so I'm hearing it like, it would be so amazing for this to come together once I feel my stuff has come together. So let me get my shit together so that by the time that happens, I am already confident. I already feel good about what I'm doing. I don't have feelings of that person is so way ahead of me in their lives. They're so way ahead of me. I don't have those things that I'm saying to myself, that horrible self-deprecating narrative. Okay. And I've been there. I'm only now at the point where I feel like super proud of my work, extremely proud of what I produce and what I do, and the kinds of people that I have that share their energy with me here on the channel, the kinds of comments that I get, the level of engagement that I get mentally. Do you understand that engaging with all of you, what it's done for me is raised my standards in terms of what kind of male mental engagement I am expecting to arrive into my life one day. You have raised my expectation of what I'd like in my life in reality. And so I'm grateful, but that's not actually, the gratitude is not my point. My point is that when we expect for a love relationship to come together before we internally have come together, we are putting the cart before the horse. Okay? You are almost selling yourself short because you have this really ideal picture in your mind of this freedom and this prosperity and this divine love relationship, or, bringing heaven to earth, all of that. You have this ideal picture in your mind matched with a premature arrival of this thing. And so there's actually no level alignment in terms of what you want and how you may be behaving and showing up for yourself in your life. And so I think that actually what I'm saying here is I almost want to not take back, but shift slightly how I may have previously understood the work of the love reading industry within this collective. Okay, because when I listen to those readings now, if somebody has said to me something amazing is entering your life and you're not going to have to do anything about it and you don't have to change anything and it's just going to show up and whatever, all of that, that sounds like a person, but it is also me. And I have seen those results. I have seen those results. I've observed them. And at the same time, I have actually felt this energy entering with the energy of love. When the energy arrives in my space, it feels romantic. There was a time where I asked myself whether that's just the nature of getting someone to, get creative and start showing up in their lives. I actually, maybe 6 months ago, I had convinced myself that no, this is Spirit's way of catching my attention. Spirit knew that Khunzi would never actually start pyramid energy if she was never promised to meet the love of her life, okay? For example, I think that that's kind of where I was at, because I had kind of decided, well, it worked. But in a sense, that's also just giving up on the bigger idea. And so that's what I found in this reading, is not so much a guarantee that a soulmate love relationship is going to manifest, not a guarantee, no indication on the timing, okay, no indication on the timing, but an invitation to experience this, an invitation to experience this at a frequency that manifests. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you can create, without effort or force, something from your heart, bring it onto earth, make it happen. If you can dream it, if you can feel it and express it, if you can create, co-create, you can definitely manifest your love relationship. And not just that, it is manifesting you. Your love relationship is manifesting you. If you've already dreamed it, okay, and you've even seen and experienced material manifestations of it, it is after you as well. Similar to your creative work. If you keep thinking about it, if you keep receiving information about it and maybe it's not clear, I'd like to propose the idea that perhaps that is exactly the nature of your love relationship. That you can feel it, you sometimes see it sort of coming together, but it's not clear. It's a mirror. It's literally a mirror. And I'd like to propose to you that this is what the twin flame journey is. Perhaps one understanding of it, because I believe that this idea must have been around since before Jesus Christ. I mean, whatever that means to you. I don't think this is something that's been created here on YouTube. I believe that for some people, I've heard, for some of them, it's not an existing actual physical person here on earth. I do know that for some of us, it very much is. Okay? And I believe that the stories are interesting in terms of how these things manifest within dreams, and then you get physical sort of proof that you're not crazy, but then it also makes you feel like you may be double crazy, because how could this be possible? But then I want to say, I feel like here on the channel that I have already engaged in this idea of allowing the impossible to be made possible. By actually showing up and doing these readings, the way I do my readings has completely evolved so much since my very first interaction with cards. I've been very much inspired by other readers on YouTube, but my style of reading is very different to theirs. My style of reading speaks directly to me, to my heart. And I have seen some of your feedback that my style of reading speaks very much directly to your heart. And so there are times where I listen to love readings, especially of late, where I experience a manifestation of what is said in the reading here with all of you. Maybe sounds like completely crazy for me to say that, but it's my experience. It's my experience, and I'm so grateful. But when I started off, before I started Pyramid Energy, when I wanted to start reading cards, I remember trying to read cards the way other people do it, and and feeling lost and feeling like I have to start from scratch and all these things and yearning to be at the level of other people. I remember these feelings, but there's honestly no greater feeling of watching your own co-creation birth and evolve and go through deaths and rebirths constantly. And I see for some people, for some readers, it appears that they've been doing kind of the same types of readings for years, but we are not privy to their internal experience. We should, I think, just be happy for them that they are doing what they love and that their channels are growing. I do believe that, and that's kind of my internal narrative right now. But what I just don't do is I don't forget myself. I listen to the readings. I enjoy them. But at the same time, I'm listening out for that advice. And so it's as if what I'm saying as well is when someone says, take what you need and leave the rest, someone who you listen to frequently and where their readings actually feel aligned frequently, okay, but the things that they say don't seem to materialize in your life. I don't think that what's being asked is that you ignore the things that they're saying. I feel like what's being asked is for you to read deeper into what they're saying and to absorb it differently. To acknowledge the promise of the human manifestation, but to also really strongly acknowledge the energetic aspect of what action you need to take next. So that you can also, with your energy work, and you're a magician. You can just transform things. You can bring something into this physical world that yesterday did not exist. You can. Okay? And so for you to actually practice being this magician, practice creating, get in touch with what it actually feels like to create. Because if you don't really feel what it's like to create and observe the growth of something that was nothing yesterday, I'm not sure how you'll connect with the idea that even a relationship can be created. This ideal relationship, that it's possible. It's almost like you need to connect with the impossible made possible before that impossible is made possible. Otherwise, it's sort of sending like a reverse message or like an opposite message to your manifestation. Let's say you are telling your soulmate that you don't really believe that they're real and that they can really manifest. That's the message you're sending across. And that would be purely because you haven't yet experienced what it's like to be a creator of something amazing yourself. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I'm not, I'm really not trying to steal anyone's dream from them or anything. What I'm trying to do is restore this idea without advising you to avoid listening to anything and without advising you to give up on your promise and that this thing will never come together. I'm sort of offering you, for anyone who maybe has not considered this sort of style of manifesting, to consider that there is a visible pathway of co-creation that you can embark on, that you can start moving down this road and applying this work on this road, and that there's an invisible pathway that runs parallel to the one that you feel in control of, okay? And that one day the other path is then revealed. And the result is, let's say, two people, again, I don't know how this plays out for you, two people that have their individual paths, but that feel aligned and that can walk together and perhaps work together, but that do not show up in their lives as though the other needs to fulfill the one or the other's sort of personal yearnings for requirements, but that can and that does. So that is what I propose. If you're interested in listening to the actual reading that I recorded that led me here, okay, I've left a link below to the membership video. The cards are laid out and I walk you through the layout. But really the reason why I needed to just speak to this is because I could see this understanding clearly in the cards, but I was dealing with this tension of reading cards but explaining, I was like stuck in this twisted situation of this is a new beginning, but you need to understand it differently if you ever want the kind of new beginning that you're hearing me explain. I need you to embrace this other new beginning first. And it was just so twisted. And I do believe that this love journey does feel twisted. But I feel like I myself have managed to detangle myself in a way that allows me to move freely and to create freely, especially in the last few days. I feel a different kind of freedom. And I wanted to share that with you. Thank you all for all of your support, the various ways that you do. Some of you, I still receive your monthly pledges, memberships on Patreon. For everyone who supports me on the YouTube memberships. For everyone who brings their energy to the channel for me to read. Because I know that many of us do have trust issues. I'm not excluding myself, so don't take that badly. I've also seen it somewhat in your feedback around, the reasons why you appreciate the readings that I share with you here. And of course, to everyone who shares donations with the channel, I appreciate you all so much. Sending you so much love.